Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Call me Mr. Tibbs.
Bazinga.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Welcome back to the latest edition of The Mad Expert, me, Michael Menza, and a look at the newest Marvel Universe offering currently running on Disney+. WandaVision, a throwback-style TV show that raises a bunch of questions in the first couple of episodes. We've watched the first 4 so far, and 5 more set to drop every Friday. In this review, I will have some very minor spoilers of the first couple of episodes, as always. If it was in the commercials, crap. There goes my Infinity Stone. Anyway, as always, if it was in the commercials, previews, or headlines, it's fair game for the Mad Expert. If you're the kind of person that avoids all information because you worry about spoilers, you're doing it wrong. Do you buy your dinner without reading the menu? Boy, are you going to be surprised when you find out what escargot is. All right, well, this isn't going to do me any good. Let's get right to the good. Created by Jack Schaefer, this show has a bunch of small delights for a large group of people, with Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany reprising their MCU roles as the Scarlet Witch, Wanda, and Vision. Oh, WandaVision. WandaVision. I get it! Kidding. It's pretty obvious. The opening episode takes place in the black and white TV world, featuring Wanda on television. Wanda, television. Oh, WandaVision! I get it! Believe it or not everyone got the double reference right away. I've looked up a few of the articles that go into detail about the Easter eggs and classic TV references, but they get it wrong. A few reviewers describe the first one as taking place in an I Love Lucy style episode, but that's not the case. The first episode takes us into an identical kitchen as the Dick Van Dyke Show, and a living room that's almost precisely the same. And with the actual Dick Van Dyke as a consultant for the show, of course they do. And I loved every minute of it. We've got 2 of the key Infinity Wars characters together in what looks and feels like an early 60s sitcom. So there's a little something in it for all ages. Each episode is only a half hour long, so they don't give you much time to figure out what might or might not be happening to our sitcom superhero couple. There are moments that reveal that something is going on that doesn't quite fit together with what we see. Is it an illusion? A psychotic break from reality? A bizarre prison? A drug-induced hallucination? I mean, there are some undertones throughout of the classic TV series, The Prisoner. You'll be wondering what's going on here, and if you pay close attention, you might start to form some hypotheses. Hypotheses. The second episode moves the time frame up to the mid-60s and channels a bit of Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, continuing its dive into classic sitcoms. It's about this time that if you're a classic TV fan, you start to put together all the references. There have been a boatload of articles that are so proud of pointing out the MCU Easter eggs that are possible plot points. But they get that wrong too. Those aren't the Easter eggs. Those are outright clues that may or may not give you an idea of what's coming. I'm not going to spoil those for you, but if you don't spot them, look up some of the articles after you watch each episode. There'll be a great explanation about it. The real Easter eggs are the ones that are clearly honoring classic sitcoms. These are not spoilers because if you're over 50, you will recognize the eggs. From the obvious replication of the Dick Van Dyke set, to the detailed fashions and hairstyles. There is a nosy neighbor named Agnes, like the nosy neighbor from Bewitched. There's the mention of the husband named Ralph, like Ralph. A character named Norm. An opening theme song that could very well have been a standard TV theme song. And very clear visual representation of Dick Sargent's Darren as the Vision, the second Darren from Bewitched. And there's a bunch more that fans of those days will have a lot of fun finding. In the second episode, which moves us up to around 1965 TV styles, there's this faint tint of red and blue that flashes across the screen, which is the exact behavior that a TV in the 60s would display when watching a black and white show on a color set. 1965 was the year that all networks started broadcasting exclusively in color because of the immense increase of the sales of color sets. When you watched a black and white show, some of the red, green, or blue from the tube would bleed onto the screen. It's a nice touch. And these little details that you notice without noticing, that really makes this show stand out. They take this bizarre premise and really color it in with, see what I did there? Color it in. With these minute details that revives true early TV experiences. And younger kids won't necessarily notice, but that's the strength of director Matt Shakman's talents. Even though the largest part of his audience won't notice or care about this minutia, he knows that us older fans will pick up on them. So he very painstakingly weaves these details in. Dare I call him genius. When stacked up against other Marvel TV offerings, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, The Inhumans, and even the better shows like Daredevil and Luke Cage, this one is far and away the best one to date. Which brings me to the bad. If you're looking for a typical superhero action fest, this is not the one. Foregoing these smash, bang, pow adventures for a slightly more cerebral approach to MCU storytelling, many fans might find themselves disappointed. Personally, I think the strength of this show lies in the intellectual puzzle we're presented. And frankly, too much action would ruin it. Most fans are likely expecting typical fare and might be disappointed enough to turn it off. So, if you're expecting standard super stuff, stow it. Since this show suggests super shenanigans are superfluous, surplus scenes mostly unessential. It gets harder and harder to come up with these alliterative asides every week. The show presents a puzzle with pieces placed a few at a time, and that may turn some of you away. You would be doing yourself a disservice, and you're probably not a true Marvel fan. If you want mindless action, go back and watch The Mandalorian again. The closing sequence of the first 2 episodes reveals a plot point that I think might have served us better if they saved it for a little further on. We as an audience are likely smart enough to figure out there's more here going on than what meets the eye. But I feel like they didn't give us enough time to wonder whether or not we were wrong. Although, there is a moment in the 4th episode that is a huge clue to why this is happening the way it is, and really raises a couple of questions we might not have considered at first about some of the characters. You'll see when you get there. I also have a small issue in the 4th episode with one character claiming that they need a CRT. That's a cathode ray tube set, or as it's called, an old-timey set. But if you know anything about broadcast analog signals and how TV works, you'll know that the monitor is not the important piece of tech here, and old-timey should not matter. You would think an astrophysicist would know that. The rest. Back to costumes, hairstyles, and set pieces. Great care was obviously taken to replicate the 60s, 70s, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the 80s. Each set is not a direct copy of a classic show, has enough similarities to the TV of my youth that you can readily recognize the backdrops. The hairstyles are perfect. The music is evocative of the times. Even the actors are very skilled at emoting the subtle differences of speech cadence from one era to the next. Little touches like pausing for the laugh track. Hell, this is the first time ever that a laugh track actually adds to the narrative. Then you get to the 4th episode that brings together much of the plot, and now you're invested. We can see that there's going to be a really interesting payoff in future episodes. I'm expecting great stuff, and if I get disappointed, you will hear about it. My final rating. By now, if you've seen my other past reviews about the Disney Plus offerings, you've already subscribed, so have at it. If you haven't been convinced yet to drop the added expense and decide to wait for WandaVision to reach other streaming services down the line, well, by that time, there will be so many spoilers, you'll be damn sorry you waited. This is my personal favorite MCU TV offering. I mean, they get so much of the television stuff wrong, it's great to see one that hits the nail on the head. Before I wrap this up, I'm going to drop a quick mini review. While flipping through the plethora of entertainment choices and trying to fill the pandemic void, I stumbled upon this movie. Yes, you're seeing that correctly, the 2017 Kong Skull Island. I was initially going to pass it by because, let's face it, after nearly 90 years of giant monster movies, we've probably seen as much of that genre that we could take. Yet, somehow, they keep getting made. Then I took a look at the ensemble cast and thought, Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, John Goodman, John C. Reilly, Samuel L. Mother Jackson? Okay, I'll give it a try. and I was surprisingly entertained. This is a well-made survival road picture that, despite using all the tropes, cliches, and standard giant monster imagery, kept my attention for the entire runtime. The script is a lot of fun, and the suspenseful, riveting action sequences and some really memorable moments wrap it all up really nicely. John C. Reilly steals the show here. It takes place in 1973, which actually makes sense given the new satellite tech of the time that makes an undiscovered island in the Pacific a logical plot point. Playing exclusively on HBO Max, which will bringing us Kong vs. Godzilla very soon. I may have to watch Godzilla King of the Monsters next to prep. They've also got a bunch of the classic Godzilla and Kong movies running currently, so I'm a little worried I might be about to fall into that rabbit hole. Meanwhile, those of you that are fans of me, the Mad Expert, and of what we do here at Real Review should check out the podcast of a close friend of the Mad Expert. Every Monday night, the Eridan Film Festival drops a video podcast of randomly picked movies from the Wheel of Reels. I will include links below to every avenue that these podcasts are available on. If you are a fan of film, these are fun to listen in on, or you can watch them on YouTube or Facebook. I've joined the group since early December when we did holiday movies. Currently, we are skewering comedies from all eras, and in the future we'll be adding gangster, drama, musicals, horror, and science fiction Wheels of Reels to the show. This is Double Feature Month. For February 1st, we drew the 2001 cult crap Super Troopers and the 1996 comic masterpiece The Birdcage, featuring my fellow film expert buddies Dan Rosenberg and Eric Schemer every week with regular guests Dave Gensel and myself, the Mad Expert, Michael Menza. Check us out, pass it on, and don't forget to subscribe. Some of you missed the bell icon. It's important because tapping the bell is how you will get alerts to when the next one drops. Thank you. Tune in again. Same mad time, same mad channel.